is going on, everybody? And welcome to the 1% podcast. I feel like I don't need to introduce you. We've already done one, but I'll do it again. Josh, buddy, we're back for round two. But no, this time we're going to, if you don't know Josh, go back to the first one. He can tell you who he does and what he's into. But I think for this one, it was, I think we're going to keep it a bit more business related, a bit kind of like, because obviously you started working with PTs now, a lot more anyway. So kind of expand on that. What's the new venture sort of thing?
Yeah, so I've joined, like I said to Brandon, I've joined Limitless Mentoring with Elliot Wise and James Vogel. So we basically mentor personal trainers and online coaches to grow their online coaching business. So we're kind of mentoring them and working on a very one-to-one bespoke basis in giving them specific tasks to work on, so they can implement those certain things into their business to help them get more clients, grow their income and grow their business essentially. I was doing it, I think I had a maximum of 5 people before I was working on, because I still work as an online coach as well. So I'm still forever growing my business at the exact same time. But it's nice now that we've got a little bit of a trio, a little bit of a team behind us, so we can all kind of help each and every mentee that we get is a trio rather than just one person. So yeah, it's a really good fit for me. I started a couple of weeks ago, and yeah, things are going well, mate. I'm excited for the people that we're working with. Things are going very well already. So yeah, I'm just buzzing to just continuously keep working with more and more people.
Awesome. What do you think's obviously with coaching? So me, excuse me, with me and you being like personal trainers and online coaches, what do you think is the biggest struggle that you're seeing for them coming in? Like 3 kind of struggles to, like, in a sense, like the whole marketing world and kind of all that sort of, what are people struggling with?
I think a lot of it is people don't come to you. As we know, obviously we know that, but there's still so many personal trainers that post about themselves and their own progress, but they don't post about what they can do as a coach. And they just expect people to slip into their direct messages or reach out to them, and clients will just come to them. So initially off the bat, that's what I get the most of every time we start working with somebody. So it's just refining that a little bit and almost asking for the sale and being a lot more specific to the people that we want to work with, and showing the problem that we can solve as coaches. Because that's essentially what we are, and that's what every business is. Businesses solve a problem. So it's just showing that. And I think there's still an abundance of personal trainers that just continuously show how they look, what they're doing, but they're not showing what they can do as a coach. So I think initially that's the biggest thing from the offset.
That's it as well, isn't it? It's about relating to clients and things like that, the problems they face and things like that, and also talking about their issues, whether that is through video, whether that is through images, whatever it is. It's like we've gone through the pain points. So it's like, okay, cool. So let's talk about like the reasons we struggled, because other people are struggling exactly the same way. And then you address the issues that people are facing, and we have the solution. It's like anything. It's like, oh, you've got a broken sink. The plumber has the solution, sort of thing, to fix it. And that is literally our job at the end of the day. So yeah, no, that's actually quality. And the thing is, it's the fitness industry is a very lots of ego bounces around, right? So it's like, no, this is perfect. This is how it's working. Like, I'm doing the right thing. And it's like, don't be afraid to reach out for help if you're struggling. Yeah. That's the biggest, regardless if that is through your own fitness journey, or you want to, like you say, you want to grow a business, or you want to start a business. That's the biggest thing. Asking for help. It doesn't make you any less of a human being. It actually makes you braver.
I mean, me and you, we met on a business course.
Yeah.
I mean, I've invested since 18 months ago. We met something like that.
Yeah, it's got over a year. Yeah.
I've invested thousands in different mentors, business courses, expanding my knowledge, my education, and that's how you progress. That's how you're a better coach at the end of it as well. And you'll never ever stop learning. And I think that's the thing that, well, not just personal trainers, but businesses in general, you have to continuously invest in yourself and put back in. Because if you don't, the people that are investing in themselves, they're just going to fly ahead.
Yeah. And then also this comes down to, it's like when people see like, oh, how did Jess get these results and things like that? She and like we had exactly the same lives. All she's done is reach out for help and invested in herself. Same sort of thing. But everyone, it's funny how, but this is where you see priorities change.
Yes.
It's like, okay, cool. So me and you have spent a lot of money on vice versa, like coaches, mentors, all this sort of stuff. But actually it's like, that's our priority. That's it. Like if you want to think, okay, Friday night's a priority going out instead of saving 50 quid and then putting it into coaching, that's your decision. But then also don't turn around and moan when you're not in a position that you want to be in.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I was in the direct messages yesterday, and there was a guy that said to me, I want to lose weight, I want to get in shape, but I love beer too much, and I'm not prepared to drop that. I'm like, cool, you do you. Like you won't achieve your goal, and at least you've been open and honest about that.
Yeah.
But yes, it's just about prioritizing and just putting back in yourself, and that's literally the reason why so many don't achieve their goals. And when they're seeing the results that yourself's putting up, I'm putting up as well, that we've done with certain clients, it's because they've stepped out of their comfort zone. Like you just said, they've reached out for help and they've invested the time and money into themselves. And that's the reason they've progressed and done better.
Yeah.
It's the same with anything.
Yeah. And you can turn around and be like, okay, cool. So potentially you're, I don't know, a manager, maybe you're a doctor, lawyer, whatever it may be. Okay, cool. So you invested in loads of years at education and university. You saw the value in that. So why do you not see the value in your own health, in your own future or career, vice versa?
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, cool. And then what's your priorities at the moment? If you said, I was like, rate out of 10, how much of a priority your health and fitness is. And like, if honestly, if it's above a 6 or 7, I'm like, cool, then you should probably look at putting money into it.
I find that with a lot of people, now you've just mentioned that. Do you know the people that do go to university? I think it's amazing if you need to go for a certain career, for example. But I find so many people that go to university, like spend however many years, get their degree, spend a fortune on, they don't have to pay so much back in the UK, but as soon as they've finished university and they've got their degree and got that job they wanted, that's where their education stops.
Yeah.
And I find that's with so many people that go to uni. Whereas for me, I didn't go to uni. I actually did just 1 year of my A level. Quit after the AS, so the 1 year, realized it weren't for me. But I've probably invested more time into more things than people that have gone to university. Yeah. And it's not all about going to uni, getting your degree, you've got your job, and then you settle for life. You have to continuously keep learning all the time. Yeah. And that's how you're going to get ahead.
Things are always changing. That's the thing nowadays. It's different when you went to even university, I'm probably like even 10 years ago sort of thing. I'm like, the way that the world's transforming now is fucking scary. Yeah. Like how technology is forming and things like that. Like if you go to like university and you study engineering, I'm like, that's good. Like that'll buy, like you'll get a good foundation. Like coding's coding at the end of the day sort of thing, right? I don't know. I'm just using that as an example. But then that was the worst example. Not a fucking clue what I'm on about. But like, mate, like stuff like that is going to change rapidly all the time. Can you imagine like, right, I do coding for Facebook. I'm like, dude, their shit's changing fucking daily. Yeah. So it's like, so if you're not consistently in an environment where you are learning all the time, you're almost falling behind. Like gyms do it now. They bring out machinery now because they know more about the mechanics of the body and things like that. And we do. So it's like technology's forming in that sense.
World records as well. They're constantly being beaten. Yeah. You don't ever have a world record that lasts forever. Well, it's very rare anyway. Like the 100 meters is constantly being beaten. Yeah. That Usain Bolt's record will probably be around for a while, but I have no doubt that someone will beat that eventually.
Oh God, yeah, 100%. And this is the thing. Yeah, but I think that I love that sort of shit as well, because it just goes to show you how hard we're pushing the human body, and like whether that is coming from, even if it's coming from performance enhancing drugs, everything. But the science behind that is phenomenal. Yeah, like what we know about doping, about enhancing and things like that is next level. How we can push the body to past breakable now. Yeah. And that's crazy. Like stuff like that is phenomenal. When you've got, is it Elon Musk? He's like, I'm trying to think of how he can populate Mars. Yeah. And you're like, fucking hell, like that's the level we're on now. So if you think like a uni degree or just like, there's that, man, your education, you need to keep like, even if it's just listening to podcasts, even if it's just going on YouTube and things like that. That's probably how me and you learn a lot as well.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. And yeah, like Elon Musk is a different breed. I mean, he's seen his Neuralink as well that he's doing at the moment.
Yeah, it popped up. I didn't look into it properly. Yeah.
So he's in the middle of this. I think he's almost done it. I think he's at like the testing stage now, but he's got like a chip that gets, so almost, do you know the ice fishing?
Yeah.
You kind of like drill out a hole and pop something in and pull the fish out, almost like that on your skull. And he's going to put a chip in there with wires that connect to your brain. And let's say you've been blind for pretty much your whole life. It's going to correct that signal from your brain to your eyesight. Certain illnesses, if you haven't got feeling in your legs or whatever it may be.
Fucking hell.
He's a clever guy. He's a clever guy. And I was talking to Gemma actually about like stocks and stuff like that, because people keep asking, oh, have you invested in like crypto and all of that? I'm not interested in that. If I was ever to invest in stocks, I would invest in anything that Elon Musk is touching, because honest, everything he's doing, he's working on the future, constant future.
But what's amazing about that is that you're not investing into the stuff he's doing, you're investing into him himself. And that's vice versa, as in coaching or mentoring, whatever that is. People are investing into you because they know what you can deliver them. That's literally it. It's like when we, like, if I put, I don't know, it's the same, what it is, it's Bitcoin and things like that. I put some money into that. I'm like, it's not actually Bitcoin. I put money in because he fucking told me to, and he's blown it up.
Yeah.
And like, also, it's just like, the world's not going to go back to pen and paper. So I think this is the thing that I've found. This will go into like coaches and things like that as well, whoever listens to this. I think people see it as a negative when they're on their phone now a lot. And I'm like, I try and have downtime away from my phone, but I feel like that is everything. That is work. That is how I talk to clients. That is everything. So when people think, oh, I need to come away from social media and things like that, I'm like, if you have a negative relationship, then 100% look at your mental health, whole different topic. But that is your job. That is most people's jobs now.
The best thing I did was delete my personal account, and I only use social media now for business.
Yeah.
That is it. So every time I'm on it, like you've just said, it's for a purpose. Yeah. Every single time I show up on it, it's for a purpose. And yeah, it's just having that right relationship with it, like you just said. I think it's like super important.
I've done the whole, it took me a while, but I kind of do the mental switch. I do anything that I post. So if it's images, videos, all that sort of stuff, that is business related. And then the stories I keep me.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. So then it's kind of like you have that divide. So then you're not emotionally attached to certain things.
Yeah. But there needs to be a bit of the personal side of you anyway.
Yeah, 100%, because that is part of it, right? That's why we can go back to like, I always get his name wrong. Is it Elon Musk, right?
Elon. It's not a pudding, mate, not a dessert.
Yeah, that's what is it, but it's spelled with a T. Is it spelled with a T or not?
Elon.
How do you spell it? Elon.
E-L-O-N. Yeah.
Oh, it is. I always thought it was a T. I don't know why. Elon Musk.
Reminded me of that dessert. Mess.
Sounds like that, doesn't it? But I can't remember where I was going at. When he did the I don't know if he did loads of like interviews or podcasts, but he did the Joe Rogan one, which everyone listened to, right? I think, was that the first? I don't know if that was the first kind of big sit down that anyone's had with him, really.
I think he's done a few now.
Yeah.
Just a clever guy.
Yeah. But it was so interesting to listen to like someone's thought patterns, how they think and things like that. It's the same thing. If someone hears you talk about calorie deficit and calories, they get your approach on it and how you see it like that. Vice versa, if someone was just like, how do you build muscle sort of thing? I'd be like, this, and this. This is just my simple opinion. And he did the same sort of thing. It's like, well, it's pretty simple, really. You just think, what's the temperature on Mars? And then you just build something and you're like, okay, straightforward.
Being the leader again, like, so anything sort of space-wise, future technology, he's kind of created that. He's almost the leader in that whole field. And it's with any profession that you do. I mean, we're both leaders. Like we're leading by example for our clients because they look up to us, whereas you look up to certain people for certain things, for certain achievements all the time. So yeah, super important just to be that in that leading position, especially when it comes to any sort of profession like that. I think super key, because like we just said, you invest in people, not the product, necessarily the service or anything like that. It's the person.
Yeah, 100%. And we can relate it straight back into training and what we do at the end of the day. Like, I see this a lot now. I'm like, people don't post enough. Sometimes, like you mentioned it, they talk about themselves, vice versa. It's two extremes, isn't it? I feel like people talk about themselves fully, kind of that influencer kind of like, I'm like, dude, no one fucking cares.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care if you can bench 100 because that's not going to help me, sort of thing. But then
Yeah.
also it's the other end of the spectrum where they don't post enough about themselves or show enough about themselves. Like, I'm never going to give someone, like, I'm never going to like be like, right, you need to slow your tempo down if I'm bouncing a barbell off my chest, sort of thing, vice versa. And it's like, actually, like, prove that you can do something. Like, actions speak louder than words, for sure. Like, if you've got shredded, I'm like, cool, you fucking prove that, black and white, that's it. So now you have almost the permission to get someone else in that condition.
Yeah, and that's a constant conflict, I think, especially in the fitness industry, with personal trainers and coaches that have never been in shape, or they're not in shape. But my personal opinion, it's not about being in shape. I think you should look after yourself, obviously, but I think you need to have been there once at least. And I think we've had this conversation multiple times. But it's like you just said, how could you've got to walk the walk, and how can you preach something that you've never experienced yourself?
Yeah.
And it's like, I would never coach someone to step on stage because I've never stepped on stage. I will coach someone to get a photo shoot because I've been there, I've done it.
Yeah.
But you've got to have at least walk that path once.
Yeah.
It's like with the mentoring side of things. Like, we've grown our businesses throughout probably the hardest time in business ever. So I've now got the credentials to mentor people.
Yeah.
You always need to walk that walk all the time.
Yeah, 100%. And it is that thing, isn't it? It's like, I completely lost my train of thought. It's gone. That was, you know, when you've got something so good and it's like gone.
Yeah.
No, it is. It's like, I think, going back to like coaches and things like that, like, no, I agree. You don't have to be in shit. Like, that's a lie. I don't think you need to be crazy fucking influencer, bodybuilder, women's physique, whatever it may be. You don't need to be in that condition. But even when you are not in shape, you need to be in shape, sort of thing. Like, you need to look like you train, in my opinion. Like, because at the end of the day, people are coming to you, like you said, they want inspiration, they want support, they want guidance. And why would you, in my opinion, why would I work with someone that seems like they're not in that position?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, unless their knowledge is through the fucking roof. I think that we're like football managers a lot of time. Like, they've done that, so they have their credentials, and obviously they got older and let themselves go a little bit. But in my opinion, I'm like, well, actually, like, you've been the best footballer on the planet, sort of thing. It's like if Cristiano Ronaldo gets to 50 and he decides to be a manager, I'm like, you were the best player in the world at one stage. So I'm like, you can fucking tell me what to do, vice versa.
It's like, I'm probably a prime example of that in the fitness industry. Like, I always tend to sit around 12 to 16 weeks from a shoot.
Yeah.
I'm not aiming to get bigger. I'm not aiming to get smaller. I'm just kind of having fun with my training. I'm just enjoying it.
Yeah.
But I always sit around that. I know if I wanted to do a shoot, I could just put my foot on the gas for a few months and I'd be there. And that's I always tend to stick around that sort of point now. And I think I always will, unless I've got like a holiday coming up or something like that. I'll just put the foot on the gas a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you've got those trainers that are super out of shape, I think it's a hard one. It's a hard one because if you want to be truly successful, anyone that's truly successful in whatever profession they've got, they've done it themselves. They've walked the walk. They've invested that time, money in themselves, to be the best at what they do. And I think that's important.
I think as well, it's almost like for me and you, our mission for people is not to work with people for the rest of their lives. Like, I want to work with someone for 6 to 9 months, change their life, but then they never have to worry about that ever again for the next 50 years. So if you're a coach and consistently kind of, in a sense, yo-yoing, maybe as a coach, I know, but also don't be afraid if you are a coach, and this has happened to you as well, because it's very normal. I think you feel like you need to be in shape all the time to have respect, and like, you don't. We're not saying that at all. But also, like, our mission is to be like, right, we are disciplined, and in a sense, we have made sacrifices for the rest of our life.
Yeah.
And I will, like, until I physically can't lift, if whatever that may be, I will probably be like much more body fat than I have now, because there's no need to.
Yeah.
That's it. And we know that as well. Like, and actually the more you do it, you actually like holding a bit of body fat. We need it. Like we do need it, but it doesn't mean getting fully out of shape.
I get that pressure as well, because even myself, like a few years ago, like if I wanted to drive into McDonald's for even just for a coffee, I'd be like, I don't want to be seen. I'm a PT and I'm driving through McDonald's. I hope no one sees me.
Yeah.
No, I'm only getting a coffee, but I'd have this thing in my head like, I hope no one. I've got a private plate on my car. I hope no one recognizes me. Like, so you're driving through a little bit like that. So I get that pressure. I get that pressure. That
Oh, mate, 100%. And I do as well. It's like, I remember being in London, the same sort of thing, like just thinking like young kids, like, and then you hang around with people in London, obviously incredible shapes, and you think, well, I'm pretty worthless. And it's as extreme as it is. And you're like, well, that's such a bad way to look at yourself.
Yeah.
And it is though. It's like, I know, like I've done it before, like gone out for dinner. I'm like, well, I'm not going to tell anyone I've gone out for dinner because I fucking went in sort of thing. And it's like, and then you'd feel guilty for like, oh my God, like I'm such a fraud sort of thing. Because, and it is that kind of like, and then it just shows you again how, as coaches, we are the biggest hypocrites on the planet in a nice way. Like, it's so funny, isn't it? It's like the reason I'm telling you this because I'm trying to fucking do it myself, sort of thing. Right, look after your headspace, like things like that. I'm like, dude, I'm trying to do the same sort of thing. Everyone gives out very good advice, but that's it. Like again, you go back to that leader thing. It is like, right, put it into practice then. And I think the nice thing about like what we've done is we've been very open from day one, like about how we're feeling, everything like that. And that's what relates. We're real people at the end of the day. If you're in the fitness, whatever industry you're in, it's like if you're a tattooist and you don't have like loads of tattoos on you, it doesn't mean you're not a good tattooist sort of thing. Yeah. But it's just like, at the end of the day, it's so funny how this is literally talking about, well, we care about what people think, and it shouldn't fucking matter.
No, it doesn't matter. But it's like we've said, to an extent, it's like even going back to what I've sort of realized over the last 6 months with my training, because I'm not counting calories. I'm not bodybuilding anymore because I don't really enjoy it. I'll have the odd session. I'm just having fun. I'm moving. I'm eating well. I'm looking after my body. I'm training, and I'm naturally just looking all right.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's probably the happiest I've been with my body that the whole 10 years of my training.
But that's the funny thing though, isn't it? Because you've been in phenomenal shape, in photo shoot shape, more muscle mass, everything. But it just comes down to it. I'm like, people think going into a transformational, right, that's it. I'm going to make the commitment or invest into dropping body fat, getting leaner. I'm like, I promise you that will not make you happy. You think it will, but it won't. What will really make you happy is actually narrowing down what's the real reason you're doing this. Because it's like, actually, like, you're not like, it's the same. It's like, I talk about track. I mean, you're not going to fucking track calories for the rest of your life, are you? So it's good we do it. But then I'm like, well, what do you do after it? And how do you manage it? How do you have a life? Yeah. And I sit like, for now, like I'm happily running the extreme of bodybuilding, but I know like, I don't want to do this past 30, man.
No. It's like when I did my photo shoot, my whole purpose was business. I was like, I'm going to get in the best shape of my life. I'm going to have a shit ton of clients. It's going to be amazing. Not a single client came from that.
Yeah.
So I put myself through that 16, 18 week prep. Amazing shape. I've got the photos now. I'll always look back. I've walked the walk. I've got the experience. Fantastic. It's amazing. But it's like now, I get more clients than ever, and all I'm doing is adding value and helping people. Like there's not a single post on my feed where I've got my top off.
Yeah.
And it's so funny how things change and your perception changes. But it's like we said, you look like you train, you're in shape, you're being a leader, you're helping people, and you're being consistent as well. And that's what you need. You just need to be covering all bases. You don't have to go to the extreme to show that you know what you're talking about.
That's it. And also,
you've done that once, and that's great.
Yeah, and there is no need to be the extreme the whole time because you will burn out. I had a call with someone the other day, and he's like, "That's it. I'm going to give it 110%." And I was like, "Dude, don't give it 110%." And they look at you like, "Well, why?" Because I'm like, "You'll fucking burn out real quick." It's like, cool, January, whatever, summer. Everyone's like, "Right, that's it. I'm going to get the best shape of my life." I'm like, number one, you put an extreme amount of pressure on yourself and you've set yourself at this fucking pinnacle of how you should look in an unrealistic setup.
Yeah.
Like, right, that's it. I'm going to train 3 days a week, cut out chocolate, boom, 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 boom. I'm like, you're not going to do that though, are you?
Yeah.
So why do it? I think it's almost like actually run at 80, 90% for months and years, because we know the consistency game pays off.
Yeah.
Instead of running at 110, 120 miles an hour for 3-4 weeks.
Yeah. It depends what your goal is as well. It's like, if your goal is to step on the Olympia stage, then yeah, you need to take this shit seriously, because every single person, I mean, do you know how hard it is just to get your pro card? Never mind step on the Olympia stage. You have to be phenomenal day in, day out. If you want to get to the Olympics, or if you want to be the best in the world at something, then yeah, you probably do have to put your foot on the gas.
Yeah.
But if you're just looking to be, it's like the people I work with, if you want to be confident in your body, if you want to be able to have sex with the lights on, if you want to drop a dress size up, I mean, I've had a couple of people recently that they've got weddings coming up. They want to feel good on the day. If your goal is just that, it's like you've just said, you don't have to go full fucking leather.
No.
Like, you've got to implement these smaller habits and just be consistent.
Yeah. Yeah, literally.
That's it.
And also the lessons you learn from being actually doing way little than you think you need to do is phenomenal. I've noticed that more in bodybuilding though. I'm like, to get the best results, do way less than you think.
Yeah.
And that comes down to like, actually, like I did a push workout today. I did 1 set on an incline press. I did like 2, like I don't do 3 sets of anything. Like this is obviously down to like actually just training extremely hard in that 1 set. And that's it. That's literally it. Because we know now, the more that I put my feet up and sleep and eat and rest and chill, I'm going to recover very well and being able to train even harder for the next session. So actually, less is more, always. That typical thing, right? We all know it's a quote, isn't it? Less is more sort of thing.
Less is more, but then you put more effort into the less, don't you? Especially with bodybuilding. Like if you have, it's like I'm just taking one of my guys for another photo shoot now, and like he's like, because this time around, the last time he was training 5 times, 2 days rest.
Yeah.
This time, obviously the increased knowledge, he's training 4 times, 3 days rest.
Yeah.
He's like, Josh, surely I should be doing what last time I trained 5 times. Surely that's not enough. And I went, look what happens to your sessions. And he's 1 week in, he checked in. I was like, I feel amazing, so much stronger, so much better. Like I feel great. Yeah. And it's like you just said, you put more effort into that less sometimes without overdoing it.
Yeah. And also for him as well, normally the first time round as well, you have to push yourself a lot harder in a sense. There's a lot, because you're a worse starting position, really. Yeah. So actually, like, you're going to have to do a little bit more. So say, for example, he's 12 weeks out last time. All right, man, you're 12 weeks out. We do have to push it quite hard because we do have a deadline. But then again, he's 12 weeks out this time, probably 5% body fat less. And then you're like, well, cool. So we can actually cruise into this a little bit. We only have to drop the hammer maybe a little bit harder at 8 to 6 weeks out. Yeah. And then just cruise into it. So a lot of the time, like the second time round or the first time on anything is the scariest thing. When you invest into something, when you buy something, when you move house and things like that, when you do it for the first time, it's uncomfortable, it's scary. But when you kind of get used to it, like I've moved so many times with my mum, my dad, myself. I'm like, moving house is fucking easy now. I don't even find it stressful. I'm like, I got 3 bags, pack them, go. Sort of thing. So actually, like the more you do something, the more comfortable it becomes comfortable it gets. But when you do something new for the first time, it's petrifying. It's scary. Yeah. So that's it. And it seems more extreme. And sometimes it is more extreme.
Yeah. No, I resonate with that because I'm still looking at my future. And there's still a bit of me inside that's a little bit nervous still. Yeah. Even though I'm so ready to move now, but there's still a bit in me that's like, oh, it's quite nerve-wracking actually. Yeah. It's different, it's change. But all change is a little bit scary.
Oh, petrifying.
All change is scary. Like, and yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but literally anything that you do, every little thing, like even me just signing this lease on a new office, like,
oh, yeah.
This is change. This is a bit scary. And like when I started mentoring, it was a little bit scary. how have I got the credentials to tell people how to grow their businesses? And it's like, Josh, you've done it. You've done it
Yeah.
yourself, and you've helped people, and you've got it. All change is scary all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, as soon as you settled in, like you just said, you used to moving. It's fun. It's probably fun now.
Yeah, that's it. And like, mate, I think that now it's like, I think when I moved out here, it's only sunk in probably in the last, mate, it's bizarre. Like I've been here 5 months now, and
That's
yeah, and it has like, I feel like it's only just sunk in now, like properly in the last month, because I think before I was living on like this, like, I don't know, like this cloud somewhere, I don't know what, but now
yeah.
I'm like, oh, this is fucking real. Like, and then I was a bit like, oh, this is kind of scary actually. Like, don't know many people sort of thing. And then you think, oh, that's it. And then, but then you're
Probably
like,
adrenaline for you, because I think you went out there, didn't you? Came back, and then you moved a lot quicker than you thought you was going to.
yeah,
Probably like adrenaline.
yeah, that's it. It's like, and then you wonder like, yeah, that's it. And I feel like, okay, I'm cool. I'm calm now. I'm settled sort of thing. But it is like like to take your life to a place it's never been to, if you want to change, which most people do, most people that listen to this potentially might feel they're in a bit of a plateau, a bit of a rut sort of thing. Maybe they just feel like the world's fighting them and stuff like that. I'm like, listen to your gut. Something needs to change. Something needs to change right now. This could be anything. This could be just making a new friend. This could be looking after your health more. This could be, right, I need to take it to the next level. It could be investing into coaches, bit like something, or how can I expand or whatever I want to do. But you've got to get to that phase where that kind of light bulb moment, something needs to change and I need to get uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And that's it. I think the biggest thing that I could always say to someone is try and get uncomfortable daily. Not like shit yourself, like spend 20 grand and like put it into Bitcoin. Maybe don't do that. but like at least do something, like whether that's training or doing steps, or maybe like it could be anything. Like I always think, like, especially for you, you tell coaches to message people a lot, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, it's the same sort of thing. If you go into a bar and you don't talk to a girl, you're not going to get her number.
No.
So I'm like, you have to talk to people. You're going to get a lot of no's. You're going to get a lot of things like that. You're going to probably get piss off sort of thing. You will, and that's life. But actually, all you need is one yes, and then you might have a hookup sort of thing. Like, do you know what I mean? And that's what it comes down to.
It's like prime example. 18 months ago, just before COVID, when I met Brandon, that business course was £540. I remember the exact number, right?
Yeah.
I was broke. I sat down with Gemma, and I was like, I think this might be the first step to the momentum that I need to really do this and go on my own, because I'd spent so many years making money, because my background is sort of sales in the fitness industry and management in the fitness industry. But I've always made other companies money, but never had the balls to do it on my own. And I was sat there at this course, and Dan was trying to get me on this course, and I was like, do you know what? I need to do this. And I had to sit down with Gemma, and we were saving for our wedding at the time. We weren't on a lot of money.
Yeah.
And we had to take that money out of our savings to pay for that course. But there's so many people that won't take that risk, that step. But that was the momentum I needed for that first ever business course. To then, I profited from that, then reinvested, profited from that, reinvested, and it's a constant cycle. But without that first step, without actually just taking that first step into something, and it's fucking scary.
Oh, it's petrifying.
It's like, oh my God, like this is coming out of our savings for the wedding. What if we haven't got the money to like get married now? And because we weren't on a lot of money at the time. But as soon as you take that first step, honestly, like things can just go your way from that point. If you put that from there.
I think I said it yesterday in a post. People were like, oh, what about if it doesn't work? And what about this? And like, it might not work out. I'm like, yeah, it might not. Cool. Accept that. But I always go in the mentality of, what if it works?
Yeah.
What would happen then?
Yeah.
Sort of thing. So a lot of this stuff, like, I'm not going to sit here and Tony Robbins you sort of thing. Like, I'm not a life coach. I'm nothing like that. But it does come down to like this, everything we're talking about comes down to a mindset base. And we're not going to give you the magic formula or something, but at some stage of your life, you will have light bulb moments, and you will think actually like to take a risk or to listen to your gut. And it is so important. Like I said to people, like my worst fear for someone or myself is to look back in 3-6 months time and be in the same situation.
Oh,
I think
100%.
that's my biggest fear. I'm like, whether that's in a training, whether that is in coaching, whatever that may be, that could be in my own like environment, my headspace. If I haven't changed in 3 to 6 months time, I'm like, fuck, man, I'm going to die one day. I don't want to have regret.
Yeah, that's it. I think that the biggest thing that's sunken for me is because it's a little bit different. Maybe if you're employed and you're trying to go on your own and you've got like a good salary. But for me, I was on minimum wage. Do you know what I mean? I was managing a team, doing quite a lot for minimum wage, and I always had in my head, if I go broke from trying to do this on my own, I could always get a job at Tesco or McDonald's. I have
Yeah.
no fucking shame in doing that, because I'll just get a job at Tesco, stacking shelves or whatever, no shame, and I'll be on the exact same money again, and then I can try again.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people need to have that mindset, especially if you're not on a lot of money and you are struggling for money and you want to go and do something on your own and really progress and do something different with your life rather than working the 9 to 5 Monday to Friday.
Yeah.
If you're on minimum wage or close to, you have zero risk, because you can just go and get there's so many jobs out there that they're the same money.
Yeah.
Like there's literally zero risk in taking that leap and taking that first step. And there's, I mean, the reward to failure sort of rate on that is you can't fail. You
No,
can't.
you can't.
There's literally
You'll
no
learn.
failure. Yeah,
That's the
yeah.
thing. Like whether you want to like, it's when people say like, I go through videos of training and stuff like that for clients, and they're like, oh, you know, I failed. I didn't get 10 reps. I'm like, thank fuck. Like, thank God we didn't get 10 reps. Sort of thing. I want people to fail. And I think people see that failure, even in training, as a negative. I'm like, when we train to failure.
Yeah.
In a controlled manner, because we know if we hit failure, we learn from it. And number one, that's what the body needs.
Yeah.
That's what the body needs to progress, sort of thing. And it's the same. Failure in life, you learn from it, so you progress in life. So that's why I always like training's kind of taught me everything mindset related, because it's just like, right, whatever I learn from training, that applies to life. And it is that thing, like if you are starting anything right now, if you are got extra body fat, you feel uncomfortable, like you said, like you can't have sex without having the lights off. There's no way you take your top off and walk down the beach right now, sort of thing. I'm like, you're in a nice way. You're in the best position, because anything you do now is going to get you results or get you in a better position. Yeah. And it's the same as like if you're doing a business. If it's just like, for me, it's just me. I'm like, well, if everything goes tits up, like I just move out with my 3 bags again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I've got nothing to lose. I think what's scary is what's harder is even for you now, because you have Gemma on board. So then you're like, oh, okay, you pay her salary in a sense. Yeah. So you have to look after her, vice versa. Then you potentially, when it's harder when you have a big company, when you have employees and things like that. I spoke to a couple of the guys the other day and they're like, oh my God, like one of my coaches is having a baby. And that scared him, because he's like, holy crap, I'm responsible for that baby's, what the baby fucking has, sort of thing. That's the scary stuff. But when it's just you and you're just starting out, you have, like you said, nothing to lose.
But before you even get to a point where you need help anyway, you could quite comfortably, in my opinion, make 10, 12 to 15 grand a month.
Easy. Yeah.
Just you on your own. So for you to be at a point where you are invested in staff and other people and bringing people to help you on board, you put yourself in a fucking good position on your own. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
I completely get that. Like you're reliable almost.
Yeah. And that's the thing as well. Like, but we spoke about this because you're like, I'm getting rid of the car. I'm getting rid of all this sort of stuff. Maybe not now because you're not moving as fast. But at the end of the day, like, I love minimalistic life. Yes. I love that I can pack up my bags. I don't have anything in life. Like, mate, you can fucking see like half my clothes are there. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I have nothing. I've got probably the only valuable things is like 4 tubs of cream of rice. And that's it. I've got nothing to me. And I think that's what I love. I don't have a car. I don't have anything. So like, even when it comes to actually even business stuff behind the scene, people are like, oh, you need these apps and all this sort of stuff. I'm like, I have Google Drive and that's £3 a month. Yeah. Like I have the minimalistic things.
The most expensive thing I've got is probably my website, 150 quid a year.
That's cheap as well.
Yeah, Typeform. Yeah, because I do it all myself. I still do it all myself.
Yeah.
Type form, I think, is like £25 a month. That's probably the most expensive monthly thing I've got.
Yeah. I think the worst one is when you have so Zapier for me is expensive now because I have more automations. And then, mate, when you build an email list and they charge you more to have more people in it, you're like, fucking bastards. And you're like, oh shit, that's probably the other one. But otherwise, and then like that's 40 quid a month.
Yeah, you don't need to spend a lot. It's like we've discussed. I can't wait to like take my car back. Can't wait to sell it.
Yeah, I remember you saying that. I think that's a great story as well. So if anyone, I don't think you had, did you have it in the first? You must have had it in the first podcast, but I don't think you spoke about it.
Potentially.
Yeah. So I'll recap. So Josh has done really well over the last 12 to 18 months, less 12 months. Yeah. Not even that, 12 months. And you're in a position to get yourself a nice car, and you bought the Jaguar or you Jaguar 4x4 thing. I don't know what it's called. Yeah, and it's stunning. It's a super nice car. And what was it like? It wasn't even that long later, like 3 weeks later, you're like, I'm over it. And you just and you were like, I'm gonna give it away, and you're gonna give it to your dad, right?
Yeah, I missed the call off period. I was fuming actually because obviously you get like because it's a brand new car, you have a 14-day call off.
Oh, okay.
Where you can take it back and it's still classed as a new car, and like whatever you can get your money back, etc.
Yeah.
I think I was 2 days after the call off period when just like, that's
shit. Yeah. But that's the thing as well. Like I see that here as well. Like more, don't get me wrong, cars are cheaper here in a sense, like supercars and stuff like that. And I'm like, dude, like walking into the gym every morning, there's a McLaren, there's a Ferrari, there's the 4x4 Lambos, and like they're all like they've all got carbon fiber everything, and you're like they're fucking top notch. Like fair play, they look sick. But you're just like, dude, like you drive 20 minutes. I'm like, why don't you just get like a
doesn't make you happy though. It honestly I got sucked in because I've always been quite minimalistic anyway. I've always been quite a simple guy, and then when you get to a point where you're making money that you've never made before, I think you do get sucked in.
Oh, dude, tattoos.
you get sucked in, and I think it just it took me like 2 or 3 weeks to realize I got sucked in there. This isn't really me. Like it never really was me. It's a fantastic car, and I love it. Don't get me wrong, but like I don't need to be spending the money that I'm earning on stuff like that. I'd rather just stack it now. And honestly, the only thing I do now, because I mentor a lot more people, is I'll train in the morning, fasted like you now, and I'll come back, I'll have a shower, and I'll dress a bit nicer. Yeah. So I'm not spending like this polo top was like £10.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I won't go like buying like Gucci and stuff like that. But
mate.
I'll just dress a bit nicer.
Yeah.
And you get I don't know. I think it's a UK culture, but I know you've got it in Dubai as well. But the UK culture, I think the vast majority of people's goals here are materialistic. So a nicer house, a nicer car, a nicer holiday, they're all things.
Yeah.
That's from my personal experience. That's what I find here. And it's one of the reasons why I don't want to, I want to get out of here. But I do find that quite a lot because so many people are unhappy with what they do 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. We've spoke about this so many times. They'll get pissed on like a Saturday night. They'll be hungover all day Sunday. They'll dread Monday, and then they'll start again. And the only thing that they can look forward to is materialistic things, nicer clothes, nicer car, like I just said, nicer house, nicer things. But they're not. They're things.
Yeah.
Like, not changing. It's not changing your life in any way.
Yeah, that's it. I read a good post this morning. Someone posted it up, and it was like, I think it must have just been a random, it was like 5x5 rule. So straight away I thought, strength training. Clearly wasn't. It was, if something doesn't benefit you in 5 minutes time, it doesn't benefit in 5 years time, or something along those lines. And I was like, it's so true, because it's so funny when you, in a sense, want something. So whether that is a car, whatever that is, don't get me wrong. If you love cars and that's your thing, fucking go for it. But if that doesn't benefit you in the long run, then what do you like, what's the point sort of thing. And like me and you probably can both relate to this now, is like, I like, my thing's food. Like I like going out and things like that. Like I'd rather spend money on food and that sort of thing than anything else. It's like I haven't bought any clothes this year really, like at all, because I was like, oh, moving abroad, things like that, a bit pricey. And then I realized, well, I'm like, well, I don't really need to, like that sort of thing. And it's just anything. Like I'd rather, I'm just not like, there's a big difference between want and need sort of
Yes.
thing. And for me, I would actually rather get tattoos. I would rather do things like that.
Yeah.
But that's this is, everyone has their little thing, but I don't get, it's so easy to get caught up in the world of like, I think it's everywhere now. Like in London was exactly the same. Dubai, mate, like I think you're in the pinnacle of it. I think it's worse now because you don't know what's real, because I think it was Selfridges now. You can actually rent clothing. There's a section on their website. Have a look. I think there's a section on their website where you can go and rent like a 10 grand Burberry jacket for like 50 quid for the day.
For what?
So you could probably take fucking pictures in it and
Yeah, but
yeah.
I mean, it's just because in you, like your head,
Yeah. But you know what's sad is that that's a market now.
Yeah, it's
That's the scary thing. Like you're like, oh my God, like our mindset is so brainwashed, and I don't know, like it's bizarre, isn't it? It's like, it's the same. I think people are talking about it a lot more with COVID now as well, flying. They're like, this is a joke. So I know a few people that flew back to the UK because they're, oh, we need to get out of here because we don't spend money in a hotel. Apparently, they don't even fucking check, mate. They messaged me afterwards saying, dude, like we could have just walked home. There's no force in putting you into this like hotel. They're not even checking PCR tests now.
Yeah.
It's just a scare factor, and it's just that brainwash factor. Be like, you can't travel here unless you need this. I'm like, dude, like this is a government thing, but actually the person at the airport checking your piece of paper, he doesn't care or she doesn't care.
Yeah. And I've heard that from every single person that's traveled as well.
Yeah.
Every single. I mean, we've had both the vaccines here, and the only reason we had them is because we were told we needed them for travel.
Yeah.
I would, that literally the only reason I would have had it.
I'm going to test it out here. So they've opened up everything. So I don't know what it was, entertainment. So you can go to nightclubs, all that sort of stuff now. And apparently all you need is a jab. You need the vaccine. So I'm going to fucking test it. I'm going to try and go without one. Because if I get in, I'll be like, guys, it's bollocks. It's just a government thing. But mate, the bouncer on the door does not care. And he's the one that's letting you in.
Yeah. It's like pub landlords here. What I found, because I've been to the pub a couple of times now since they reopened. I haven't gone mad like fucking most people have here, but I've been a couple of times. Yeah, people aren't bothered. Like they've been shut for so long. Like it's their business at the end of the day. They just want people through the door and they want people to spend money there.
Yeah,
there's literally they are not arsed one bit. They do not give a shit who's coming in. They don't care if you've got your mask on.
Yeah,
like they're really not bothered. They just want you to start spending money and start like booming their business again. That is it.
Yeah, that's it. And I think even like when you talk about, I think in a nice way, this is kind of like, well, we don't really talk about topics like this. And I think people think it's frowned upon, you know, talking about money and all this sort of stuff. I'm like, the nicest thing that I think about money, whatever it is, I never have my own money.
Yeah.
All I do is I'm the middleman. Someone pays me and I pay someone else.
Yeah.
That's literally it. I'm just the transfer system. Yeah. And I think that's the nicest way you can see it. The only time that you have, I guess, your own money is if you have, potentially is like having a property or something like that. That is your item sort of thing. You bought a house, that is yours. But anything else, I'm like, nah, like nothing's yours. I think the nicest way you can see it is like, for vice versa. Like if I pay Josh to do something for me, I'm like, cool, I know exactly what he's going to do with that money. He's going to be like, right, I've got a little bit more. I'm going to try and make this better, or I'm going to try and push more money here, or I'm going to go on a weekend and learn something or something like that. And that's the nicest way. I'm like, it's not even Josh's money. I'm paying for a service and then he's paying for a service. And that's how the world revolves.
Do you know what? That's the nicest shift since I started like 3 or 4 months ago, treating my business like a business and not just money that's coming in. Yeah. Because I live off £700-800 a month now. Yeah. Because that's what I pay myself. Everything else, it's like I had a client saying, "Oh, I've just put that money in your pocket." I can't remember his phrasing, but in my head I was just like, "Well, you've not. You've paid the business.
Yeah.
I still pay myself £800, whether you pay me or
Yeah.
not, or not. Like, it doesn't change for me."
I think that's the nicest thing as well. People are like, oh, like, what you do? And like things like that. I'm just like, dude, like we do what we love.
Yeah.
Like, and we almost love the suffering and things like that. So it's like, I'm like, okay, cool. How can like, it could be anything. So like, if I get a videographer in to film stuff for clients and stuff like that to put on their site and stuff, I'm like, that's fucking sick. But all they've done is pretty much paid for that themselves
Yeah.
and sort of thing. So I've just paid a videographer to do that. And that is the nicest thing, is how minimalistic you can live. Like, food for me is a bit more expensive when I'm trying to gain. That's it, right? I think food. I was trying to think of what else I buy. Coffees, and that's it. I don't know what else I do.
Do you know what? We're so frugal now. Like, we've even bought a brand new coffee machine just to save a bit more money on spending money on coffees. I'm like, we barely spend anything.
Yeah,
We're still trying to save.
Mate, I even got, so Cam and Hannah moved back to the UK.
Yeah.
And they gave me their coffee machine. They gave me everything. So I was like, mate, sick. But do you know what's the funny thing? I still go buy coffee. Like, and it's, but that's the thing about like, for me, this is the way that I see coffee now. I'm like, okay, £3 for coffee. Like, that's pretty much like, if we get vanilla or whatever it is, it's going to be £3. So, but then I'm paying for an office space for 2 hours. And then what can I get done in those 2 hours?
Yes.
Sort of thing. So a lot of time it's not putting a price on something. And this is the same as like, so I do this a lot now because I don't have a car here. So I get a taxi to the gym every day. Well, pretty much every other day. People are like, oh, that's expensive. Like, number one, taxis are cheap here. So it's like pretty much £5 to £7. So I'm like,
it's your job to get to the gym.
Yeah. And then also as well, I'm like, but actually if I was driving, I couldn't do 15 minutes of work and replying to clients.
No.
So things like that is massive. So this is where it comes down to time is so valuable. So when people are like, oh, I don't have time to go to the gym and things like that, I'm like, well, where are you wasting time?
Yeah.
Sort of thing. And that's hard because it's like, people see that it's like, and we do that as well. Like, okay, Josh, where are you wasting time at the moment? You're probably very self-aware enough to know where you are. And you can probably tell me exactly where you are. Vice versa. If you told me, I'm like, dude, I'm wasting too much time mid-afternoon because I start to crash off with energy. But how can I use that time more wisely? I could listen to a podcast or an audiobook. So I'm not wasting time, but I'm still absorbing information.
Exactly why I've just got this office, for that exact reason. Because I'm at home still, I do find myself exactly what you just said. Like, the afternoon, my motivation and my energy kind of dips off a little bit. I'll go downstairs, I'll put YouTube on, and I'll sit there for half an hour to an hour.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck's it, like, get back upstairs.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's invested in my office for the next 6 months is going to resolve. I got nowhere else to go. I'm there. So let's just solve that problem. Exactly what you just said.
Yeah.
Spot on.
I think the biggest thing that, like, we'll start to wrap it up straight. Because we could ramble on for ages, but I think the biggest thing that, like, I think people think, I understand it, like the hustle and grind mentality. It definitely, it is real. Like, if you do hustle and grind, but in a productive way, you will achieve incredible results. Yeah. Like, you see it from fitness. I'm like, Olympic athletes training 7 hours a day and things like that. And I'm like, I sometimes think, I'm like, do you need to train 7 hours? Can you physically work at 100% for 7 hours a day? You probably can't. I know this from looking at rowers and things like that on the water for X amount of hours. I'm like, how good are you actually performing? Yeah. But then sometimes I'm like, but actually you've got 6 gold medals. So who am I to say that's wrong?
Yeah.
So, but then this comes down to, I'm like, me and you are very much morning people. Yeah. So, like, so what's your morning at the moment? Because I think people love the routine. What's your morning? What your most productive hours? What's the times? What do you do?
So it's changed. It's changed recently, the past few weeks, because now I'm having to fit because I'm busier through the day. The only time I can train is first thing.
Yeah.
So I'll wake up sort of 5:30, have a coffee, straight to the gym, come back, have some scran. And then I'm literally back-to-back calls, pretty much between coaching, mentoring, designing new starter plans. I'm literally sat down in my office from the moment I finish that morning routine, as you like, to the evening. And then I'll have like an hour in the evening where I sit down, sort of unwind my brain a little bit, and then I'll go to bed.
Yeah.
But then on the other hand, on a Saturday, I make sure I have a half day. So I'll make sure I finish at 12 o'clock. And then on Sunday, I have Sunday completely off.
Cool. Nice.
So I'm pretty full on for like Monday to Friday.
Yeah.
And then the morning of Saturday. But I make sure I have that switch off time, because it's important when you're so flat out speaking to a lot of people.
Yeah.
So yeah. Before I was training in the afternoon, so it's splitting my day up a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, now it's just wake up and go.
How are you finding the morning workouts?
Do you know what? I was enjoying it until I did legs this morning.
Do you feel weak?
I think I'm going to struggle with legs first thing.
Yeah.
What I'm going to have to do is just have like a bigger meal in the evening, I think.
Yeah, mate, stock up.
Yeah, like definitely have a bigger meal, because I think last night we had salmon, some jasmine rice, and some stir fried veg.
Oh, mate, yeah, nah.
I think I needed to probably double the portion of rice, just because I was training legs this morning. Yeah, I felt the energy drop like after 2 exercises.
That's the thing, because it does drop off quite quickly as well when you're fasted, 100%. But it could just be things like reducing the volume potentially and stuff like that. So, but if you eat more, you'll be fine.
It's just adapting to that.
Yeah.
Thing. Before it was like typical. I'll eat like an hour before.
Yeah.
I have like some oats or some baby rice, something like that. In an hour, I'm sweet.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
Whereas now it's just a bit different.
Yeah, no. But it's interesting because we both like, so I'm finding I've got it. I think I've got it now. I've got into the swing of it now with the life here. So I'm the same. I get up at 6:30. Same thing. First half hour of the day is like journaling, coffee, like getting rice cooked for the day, drinking water, supplementation, that sort of stuff. That's first half hour of the day. I'll sit and work for half hour. Yeah. Then I have a pre-workout meal. Then I'll go back to work for about an hour and a half, and then I'll go to the gym. So I'm in the gym for like 9 to 10 marker. Yeah. And then I finish at 12ish normally. Yeah. Post-workout meal, then I can't do shit for like 3 hours. I literally can't. Like, I've tried so hard to try and work and be productive, and I just can't. Like, and it's like forcing yourself. So I'm like, actually, screw it. So now I'm like if it's something like this, it's super easy because I don't really have to do much sort of thing. I don't have to think too much. And then it's literally, I just might go to like the beach, go for a swim, listen to some audiobooks, or go to a coffee shop and things like that. And then the evening starts to crank up again. Because obviously being 3 hours ahead, like sometimes I'm probably working till like midnight on calls and stuff like that. So actually the back end of the day is busier. So it's just, but then as well, like I never thought I'd be a bit of a night owl, but I do now. I'm like, I get that night owl because it goes dark and I can like just sit and crack on with stuff. And I quite like that.
But again, Dubai's very, very evening, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I think I'd be very motivated in the evening, because once you look out your fucking window or your balcony or whatever, and you see all the lights, the hustle and bustle, I'd be quite fired up to work in the evening, I think.
Yeah, that's the thing, because in the day now, I'm like, well, anything from like 12 till 6 p.m. I don't want to go outside, man. It's like 43 degrees. So I'm like, dude, I'm not going outside. I'm just going to like mong out and probably stand my washing up because it's all falling over.
You staying or you leaving?
I'm going to stay for June. And then obviously hope things are a bit easier, but I'll come back to the UK for like a month or something like that. I'll come back for a month for sure to the UK, because I was going to, same as you, I was going to go to Australia. But then obviously we can't get in there at all till January, or even till they think about letting people in. So I'll come back to the UK. And then it's quite nice. I'm just going to get loads of Airbnbs places, man. So it could be just like Nottingham area, get an Airbnb for the week, train, stuff like that, hang out and like just work with around that area. I'll probably be up north because I feel like I'll be in Muscleworks area for like a week maybe. And then I'll go Midlands, and then I'll go up north or something like that, and then just fly back in September or something to the to here. But then it's annoying because or July or August, whatever, but I've got loads of shoots and client competitions in like October, November, so I'm going to come back for that. But
most pops are like, everyone's going to Portugal at the minute, aren't they?
Yeah,
pop there or something like that, and it's expensive though.
Yeah, mate.
Hey, I was having a look because I said to Jem, I wouldn't mind just going for like a weekend, like a long weekend.
Yeah.
It was going to cost us for a weekend like 2K.
Mate, Portugal got it nailed. They're like, right, we need to earn what we've lost in a year.
Oh,
How can we do that in like 3 weeks?
it's literally it. And
Yeah.
do you know what? I looked at the price. I was just like, it's a weekend. Like,
Thing
we'll
is,
be all
also, it's really annoying because we know, like, normally we can fly to Portugal for fucking 50 quid return.
right. Yeah.
So then you're like, well, why am I paying almost £500 for a flight now?
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's absolutely insane.
Because people are doing that with, I love the government now, like, because Dubai have obviously done extremely well over this COVID period. They've been normal the whole time, really. So they're like, your economy's fine. People have been going there. So now everyone's like, fuck you, Dubai. We're not sending any tourists to you. That's literally all it is. So now we're just like fucking red list everywhere.
It's the only annoying thing because even flights to Aussie when we were looking, it was like 2K one way. So it was like a K.
Mate, that's rob.
Yeah.
That is robbing.
Daylight robbery, and it's just like, how bad do you want to go?
That's the scary thing though, because like you would happily pay that as well. That's the sad thing. If you weren't smart, you would pay that.
I would still pay that, yeah.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like normally, like every time I used to go to Perth, dude, my flights were like 800 return. And that was business.
Yeah.
You're like fucking £2,000 one way. That's first class, but it's not.
I'm hoping though, to be honest, by the time they open up, Jan Feb time, I'm hoping like the whole travel boom in price would have like settled down a little bit.
Eased down by then, yeah.
But it's like when pubs and gyms and stuff open here, boom, like everyone just flocked to them because it's new. It's like
now it's crashed again. Yeah.
Now it's like chilled out. So I think travel's going to be the same. I think at the moment, because they've started to open places up, everyone's just boom flocking. So they're just milking it financially. These I don't blame them.
No, God, no. Like if you've had no income for the last year, especially if in the tourism and travel industry, like, yeah, too right. People are willing. It just goes to show you. I think this when, Apple bring out a new product, we know we pay overpriced for Apple. We know an iPhone's not worth £1,200, but guess what? We fucking do it, don't we? Like
the new Mac almost sucked me in the other day.
Oh, why would you tell me that?
Because right. Macs, the actual Mac, the computer is not the laptop.
Oh, okay, yeah.
They're usually like 4 or 5 grand, aren't they? Right. So
for like for the piece, like the actual
the PC, yeah. They've just brought out a new model that you see the exact same price as the MacBook, about £1,500.
Ooh.
Like, why would you email me that?
Yeah.
I had to have a talk with myself again, going back to the material. I had a talk. There is nothing wrong with your MacBook.
Yeah.
Like you don't need it.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a great price compared to what they have. It's shiny, fantastic. You don't need it.
Yeah. It was funny. So my one, like this one, is like the battery life on its fucks because apparently the guy was like, "Oh, the battery needs to replacing because you've had some damage to it," and so it crashes really quickly, the battery, which is annoying. But then also I'm like, well, it works fine, so I don't need a new one. But then I'm like, actually, it's a good thing because if it crashes quicker, I get way more work done if I go to a coffee shop for an hour because I'm like, right, it's going to fucking die in an hour. Let's go, sort of thing. So sometimes just use it as a benefit. But that's the thing when we come back to it, it's like, well, do you need it or want it? I'm like, dude, I talked about this is like balance with your diet. I'm going to listen to my body because I need this. I'm like, dude, if I listen to my body every day, I'd be having a Quality Street tin every night. Do you know what I mean? So it's like if I kept listening to my body and doing all this sort of stuff, dude, I'd be morbidly obese. So yeah, I understand listening to body, take a break, but don't eat a tin of digestive biscuits if you feel a bit tired.
I'd be an alcoholic, mate, if I listened to my body.
Yeah, that's it. You and your little whiskeys and just think like, is it whiskey? Do you know?
Yeah, a nice bourbon, mate. Yeah, some of the people that I've got to motivate and on a daily basis, I'd be out. I reckon.
You just have it sat next to you out of camera shot and just have shots in between calls.
I'm going to put it in a brown paper bag as well.
Yeah. That'd be so good. I'm going to sign up to the mentoring just so I can hopefully see that. This is going to be worth it. I'm going to drive him into the ground so he becomes an alcoholic. Yeah. But no, absolutely brilliant. No, spot on, man. I think we'll wrap up here because I know you got to crack on with the rest of your day as well. So obviously for your end of things, we'll always finish up the podcast in the same way. So if there's anything that you can give someone a piece of value today that's going to take them 1% further forward tomorrow, what would that be?
I think from what we've spoken about today, it's got to be just take that first step, take a risk. Like, stop being so preservative. Stop worrying about the negative of what might happen, and start talking about, like, start thinking about, okay, what could happen, what could potentially happen. I think have that shift in mindset, and just don't be afraid. It's like I touched on with, if you're sat here listening to this and you're working a job that you don't necessarily like, you're on minimum wage, you have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Take that first step. You can always get a job if it goes tits up, and then you can try again. Like, you literally have nothing to lose if you're working for minimum wage. And I think that's the biggest thing that I learned in going off what we spoke about today. I think that would be my biggest piece of advice on this one.
No, brilliant, mate. No, I totally agree. It is just like, you just got to drop into it, because again, like we said it before, we don't want to see people, or even ourselves, we don't want to be in the same situation in 3 months, 6 months time from now. I don't care how small the growth is, or even if it's nothing, but we tried everything. That's all you can do. Is like, you have no shame or nothing to lose with trying.
Someone you said it as well. Someone recognizes you in 6 months, then you've done something wrong.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So it's a great way to wrap it up on. So it's cool. Where can everyone find you as well, buddy?
Mainly Instagram now. I don't really use Facebook too much. But Josh Dexter .jdt, and everything is on there.
Diamond. Cool, mate. I will love you and leave you. It's been absolutely brilliant once again. And dude, I'll catch you in a bit.
Yes, beautiful. I'll see you later.